Hello, I'm Greg Mapes, and I'm the mayor of the city of Alma, and I'm here to read you a story today. The story is called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs, and it's written by the wolf himself, so it's a very authentic story. So everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody ever heard my side of the story. The wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, but you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. But hey, it's not my fault because wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Because we eat the cheeseburgers, don't we? But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. There's a sneeze and a cup of sugar. Way back in Once Upon a Time land, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor happened to be a pig, but he wasn't too bright. He had built his whole house out of a straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So here he is on his way to his neighbor's house all the way over here in a house built of straw. So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you home? But no answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's cake, and that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I huffed and I sneezed. And here it is. He gives a big old sneeze. And guess what happens? I sneezed and sneezed. More sneezing. And you know what? The whole house fell right down. Right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. I think of it as a big cheeseburger just laying there. Yes. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. The next neighbor's house was a first little pig's brother. He was a little bit smarter, but not a lot. He had built his house out of sticks, a little bit stronger, but not quite as strong as it should be. I rang the bell on the stick house and nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. There's the pig. He's got a house out of sticks and he's shaving. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great big sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down too, just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. So there's the big sneeze and another little pig just laying there in the middle of all the mess because the house fell down. Now, you know how food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open like that. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar I needed for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family because he built his house out of brick. I knocked on the brick house, but got no answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me again. Here we are in a house built out of brick. That should be much stronger, shouldn't it? Oops. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig he was. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. And I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed again. And then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." My goodness, he was rude, wasn't he? But his house was brick and it did not fall down. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. There's the wolf making a big old scene trying to knock the house down. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting, so they jazzed up the whole story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me out to be a big bad wolf. That's it. That was the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? From jail, he needs more sugar. So thank you. Hope you enjoyed the story.